In this video, we're going to be starting and setting up our page 3. So I'm going to come down here to the bottom corner and I'm going to go ahead and open up my page 3. And similar to page 2, we're just going to get the general idea for our text boxes and image boxes, and then we can adjust them from there. So I'm going to grab my type tool. I'm going to make a box that starts with the very top left corner of my margins and stretch it up to through column 2. I'm going to make another one pretty close to that, a little bit smaller, that also stretches through column 2. Now I'm going to create a text box that fills up my column 1, a text box that almost fills up column 2, but I'm going to leave a little space down there at the bottom. We're going to create 2 text boxes for column 3. And we're going to create 1 rectangle frame tool at the bottom of column 2 where we left that space. All right, so now let's go ahead and adjust these now that we have all of our text boxes. So I'm going to click on our first one, and we want this to be a height of 15p. And I'm going to hit enter. We want our next text box, also stretching through 2 columns, to be 4 pica. So I'm just going to get rid of this 4.5 after my p and hit enter. And since I have this one selected, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to line it up exactly with the bottom of my other one. So you see it looks like it's one line. These text boxes do not have a size requirement. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and make sure these are lined up. There we go. I'm going to make sure my rectangle frame is lined up with the bottom. Now our first text box in our third column does have a specific size. So it's going to be 24p. And I'm going to just kind of not exactly put it all the way up at the top, but just kind of have it near there. And then again, this one does not have a specific size, the second text box in column 3, but I'm going to make sure it lines up with the bottom of the other 2. So let's go ahead and get started. One thing we do want to change, just to make things a little bit easier, is I'm going to come to my paragraph styles. I'm going to go ahead and open my kicker, go to the indents and spacing, and change the space before to 0p0. It should be already set to 2p0, but go ahead and change that to 0p0. Click OK when you're done. And now grab your type tool, make sure your kicker's still selected, and click in that first type box. Now we're going to type exactly what they have, which is why we love minis! Exclamation point. And I noticed that there's something going on with my kicker. So let me just open this back up. Arial bold, underline. There we go. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I guess I needed to actually select the text and add that. And you see that we're pretty close to the top. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter once so we have a little space between the 2. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. So again, what happened with my text is, I guess you can't just select the paragraph style and type. It didn't pick it up, so I had to highlight it and go ahead and do that. So now I'm going to hit enter, and this time I'm going to grab my paragraph style headline. And now I'm going to type exactly what is on your instructions paper. All right. So again, just because we had that issue before, I'm just going to highlight my text. Okay, still says headline, so we're good. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we'll scroll down to our first large text box that is our first column, and we're going to enter news 4. We're going to play with this subhead 1 text here in a second. So I'm going to go to File, Place, select News 4, which for some reason did not get downloaded the first time. So I'm going to pause the video, download it. You go ahead and do the same, and then we'll go ahead and place that in there. All right, so I have my News 4 downloaded. I'm going to go ahead and click Open. All right, so what we're going to do for our subhead 1 is we don't have to type it. I'm just going to highlight that first sentence that ends with a question mark, and I'm going to do Control X to cut it, and then click here and Control V to paste. Now I notice there's a little space between my D and my end of my text box, so I just went ahead and hit backspace or delete to get rid of it. I'm going to highlight my sentence, go to my paragraph styles, and select subhead 1. Now this almost worked perfectly, but we are going to hit enter after the R just to move that down 1 to make sure it's lined up the way we want. Now I'm going to go ahead and zoom out again so you can see a little bit better. All right, so just like our text before, it is larger than our original text box. So I'm going to click this little red plus sign and click on my second text box to link those together. I'm going to grab my type tool and then click and drag across and grab my paragraph styles and select my body text. Now it may not look like it fits perfectly, but we're going to be doing something a little bit different in our text column 1 text box in a different video. Next, I'm going to go ahead and bold some things. So we're going to bold down the road in the first column, first paragraph. And I'm also going to bold this whole paragraph that begins with such fans and ends with Madonna. And we're going to, after the Mini Cooper, the first paragraph, going to put our cursor. And now I'm just going to hit enter a few times until it ends with the word Madonna. There we go. Now it is a little bit cut off here, so I'm just going to move this down a little bit, my text box, so that it shows our whole text. And you'll see that little red arrow goes away and we have no errors. Last thing we're going to do for this video is we're going to go to our second text box in column 3. We're going to insert News 5 in here, so File, Place. Going to my News 5, and I'm going to click Open. So we are going to change what kind of looks like a title, which it is, to subhead 1. And then select the rest of that paragraph or body of text and change it to body text. And I'm going to go ahead and just change up our text box a little bit so it lines up a little bit better, and then I'm going to move this down to line up with the bottom of all 3, either text box or rectangle frame. So this is where I'm going to leave it for our first video. Go ahead and continue on to the next one, but don't forget to save, so either Control S or File Save.